Let me take my hair down so I can put it back up.
Oh, you don't want to look like a troll on camera?
Yeah, I don't want to look like a troll on camera. That's what I don't want.
You ready for the intro?
I think so. Right.
Are we focused?
What am I supposed to do?
Nothing, just be Destiny.
Okay.
Just be yourself. Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your man, I Do Barber, here with Destiny. And if anyone can figure out how to spell her name correctly in the comments, I will give you a free bottle of Tune 45 shave gel on the house. So leave it in the comments if you can spell her name correctly. I'm curious. But today we did an undercut on her hair in the back, and that's pretty much it. So let's get into this tutorial. So we're gonna kick this thing off with the 1.5 blade on, and I'm going up, and I noticed something. As soon as I took up that 1.5, I noticed that it wasn't as dark as I would like it to be generally when I use a 1.5 on someone. What I noticed was the hair was a little bit lighter than I expected. So what I did was took the 1.5 up halfway, and then the upper part of this undercut, I used 2 blade. And generally when I do designs, I like the hair length to be a 1.5 or a 2. Now, of course, that doesn't include shading, because shading, you're gonna go a little bit lower. But now, I'm starting off the star design with my Slimline Pro LIs. And any of the stuff that I use in this video, I will leave a link to it in the description below if you guys want to purchase any of the tools that I use or camera equipment, whatnot. But I'm starting off the design here, just getting the shape of the star. Now, I'm gonna let you guys know something. I made a mistake because I should have used my black GTXs with the gold blades, because in tracing out the initial star, I had to go over it a lot because these trimmers just weren't doing the job on this particular day. Maybe it was her hair, I'm not quite sure, but it would have been a lot easier if I would have just went in initially with my GTXs with the gold blade, because the hair just comes off with those trimmers like butter. It's not even funny. So and that's the beautiful thing about YouTube, especially about me documenting my work and my journey and all this stuff, is I get to actually learn from my mistakes too when I do these edits and go back and see the process. I mean, granted, I knew the mistake I made when I was doing it once I picked up my GTXs, but it just confirms the fact that yes, I need to use my GTXs. So here I am with the GTXs, tracing the outline of the star. Now you'll know that that initial base of the star, the light portion, is not really that even, which is no problem when you're doing designs. Generally, when you're doing designs or any part, you want to start off thin rather than thick, because of course we all know you cannot put hair on, but you could take hair off. You know, I mean, we're not talking about man units or anything like that, but in this case, you can't put hair back on when you're doing a design. I mean, unless you're gonna try and cover it up with some enhancements. But you can notice here, if you guys can see, the outline, that the dark portion of the star, the section that will actually pop, you'll notice that it's quite thick. And I did that on purpose when I outlined the star, where I could actually correct the base in the middle. So if you can see, you'll see later on in the video that I'll go back in and retrace that inner portion of the star to where it's more symmetrical. And on this design, I didn't want the star to be straight up and down. I turned the star off to the side when I initially did it. I wanted the star to face at a slight angle. I wanted to angle left, because I did just basic. This is a freestyle design, so it's really all up to you. It's your interpretation of art. So if you wanted your star to be straight up and down, you wanted your star to be pointed upside down, whatever you wanted to do with your star, that's your design, that is your interpretation. But for this interpretation, I wanted the star to angle off to the left, and you'll see why when I go into do a little bit more later. So I'm still outlining with the GTXs, getting that outline tight, and I'm just detailing. So now I'm creating like some wave, like a wave pattern coming off the star. And I'm using my Slimline Pro LIs, just using the corner. As you can see, I'm using them like a pencil. And then I'm creating another line
right underneath that, identical to the one I created prior. And I'm tracing just like a pencil, but I'm also using that top line as a reference as to the shape of this wave pattern. And I'm doing the bottom as well. I'm not gonna keep, as you can see, I balled out that little bottom portion. I didn't want to keep it. I just basically called an audible at that moment. I didn't want to keep it. I just got rid of it. I could have, but when you see what I do with the shading of that portion, you'll see why it makes sense that I got rid of that hair. So now I'm just lining her up on the sides. And I'm just tightening up the design now. Now, for any of you guys that do designs, especially if you use T-outliners, you will know that you have to work fast with the T-outliners because they get hot. And that's what I love about the Slimline Pro LIs. They don't get hot. I mean, you have to turn those things on for like 15 minutes for them to get hot. And I mean 15 minutes straight without turning them off before they start to get hot. And even when they do, they're still not that hot. They're not T-outliner hot. They're just like warm. The blade will feel warm. So, you know, if you can get your T-outliners to hit, and I've done designs with the T-out or with the Slimline Pro LIs, but just for some reason, it wasn't doing that very nice detail work. It wasn't doing it that well on her type of hair, but that's why I have my GTXs with the gold blades, because the hair comes off like butter with those. There's some monsters. And I know a lot of people always complain about their GTXs with the gold, well, not their GTX, but the gold blades not hitting. All I can say is speak for yourself, because mine hit. Maybe you just don't have yours set correctly or whatever, but mine are also modified as well. I will say this, I made a video with the 1 minute blade modifier. I did a review on it, and a lot of people were asking me like, where do you get the gold blades? Where do you get those gold blades? At the time, the website I got them from, they no longer sell them. But I saw on Instagram, you guys can go check it out. Check this company out on Instagram. They're called Ideal Barber Supply. And they actually have gold blades for the masters. I think they also have them for the seniors, the magic clips. Gold blades for everything. Even the T-outliners, the styliners, the Slimline Pro blade. I think they have it in gold as well. So you can get gold blades in just about everything. So as you can see here, I'm shading the bottom portion. So I'm trying to create like almost like a burst type of effect with the blend. So I'm starting off open, middle, closed, as you can see, to create that first portion of the wave. You can see there I'm doing that shading. So now I've got the 1.5 blade on, and I'm going into the second part of this wave, and I'm just clearing out the bulk. And then now I have my 1A blade going right underneath there, and I'm just shading. So now you can see that shade come into effect. And what I was trying to do there, and right now I have the 2 blade on, and I'm going up into, or actually no, this is the 1.5. And now I have the 2 on, and I'm clearing all the bulk up top. So I'm just clearing it because there's just a few antennas hanging out. And I just want, and you can see, as you saw earlier, you can see that fading effect. So people are watching me do this cut, and they're also asking me questions. So if you see me like pointing or talking, you can see a bunch of people standing around moving and stuff. They're watching me do this cut, so you can see a bunch of that. And I do apologize for you guys that are watching that I did not put this on manual focus. I made the silly mistake again of doing a haircut tutorial in autofocus. And here's a key for you guys, a little tip for all the YouTube barbers out there, or anyone that's inspired to do YouTube videos. If you shoot with a DSLR or a camera that allows you to change the focus, please shoot in manual focus, because what it will allow you to do is keep your subject in focus and everything else out of focus. Because you'll see if you watch YouTube tutorials where the camera will flicker, or it'll go into focus and out of focus, and obviously you could tell their focus is working, but it definitely helps if you just put it in manual focus, especially if you shoot at one steady angle. If you don't change camera angles a lot, it's really helpful to shoot in manual focus. You won't have to worry about anything, or in post when you go back to edit and you look at the footage and you're just like, this particular part of your tutorial is not in focus and you can't use it. I noticed that here in this one, because this was the first time me actually shooting at school, Destiny here, she normally wears her hair down, and I noticed when she pulled her hair up one day that she had an undercut. So I was like, oh wow, let me actually do a design on you. So then I brought my camera in, and this was the first time doing this. So now I put pre-shave oil on, and I got the hot towel on her, and I'm getting her prepped for the razor. So of course, you know, when you do designs, you know, you want to finish with the razor just to do more detail work and etch out that line, because sometimes, I mean, some people have trimmers that can get close like razors, but it's always good to go back in with the razor because you can detail some things and make it extra sharp where you don't have to use your liners for that. So hot towel's done. So as you can see, I just use pre-shave oil and the hot towel, and the hair's coming off pretty good. And as you can see, it's not really that in focus, like I said, because I use autofocus. You can definitely see a difference in the start now from the beginning of the video. And this cut's pretty much done. I'm just going back in, I'm doing a little bit of detail work, just making sure the design is extra tight, making sure there's no hairs that hang over, making sure every line is as straight as possible. And that's what you want to do for your client. And this video was fun to shoot, you know, at school. You know, that's what the one thing I like about this school, me going through the instructor program at this school, is that they allow us to film. You know, like, it sucks that at my old school they wouldn't allow us to film, so I wasn't able to give you guys any good YouTube content when I was actually in barber college. But this was really fun. I'm going to show her the mirror and check out her haircut.
I'm going to let you look at this. I'm still going to do your neck shaving portion. You like it?
Oh yeah,
And that's pretty much the cut, guys, man. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, browse the channel. I have plenty of great barbering content out there. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe, share the videos. I want to build a nice community here. And now I'm just doing the neck shave portion. I'm finishing off with the neck shave because, of course, you know, I got to make sure all of that underneath is clean, because I didn't leave like a straight line across or a circular line across. It's basically just hair or blended to skin. So I'm just making sure it's extra tight. Going in, getting all that vellus hair. You see, I got to go the reverse direction because, you know, females have a lot of vellus hair that you just can't see with the naked eye. So that is it. And let me know what you guys think of this design. If you guys want to see me do any other haircuts in the future, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. It's your man, I Do a Barber, signing out. I will holla.